My name is Kate. I'm 34 years old. And on my mother's birthday, in front of a room full of people who had known me my entire life, she lifted her glass, smiled like she was doing me a favor, and said it out loud. She deserves nothing. A nobody. Never built a career. She didn't whisper it. She didn't hesitate. She didn't soften it. She said it the way people announce facts they believe are already settled. The room didn't react right away. There was a pause. The kind of pause that stretches just long enough for your heart to realize something has been taken from you that you can never get back. And then the pause broke. Chairs shifted. Someone laughed. Someone else clapped. And just like that, it became acceptable. It was my mother's birthday. A catered hall. White tablecloths. Crystal glasses. A microphone she insisted on using because she wanted everyone to hear her gratitude. Everyone except me. She turned away from where I was standing, didn't even look in my direction, and announced that her son deserved a $1 million villa. A reward. A symbol. Proof that she had raised at least one child correctly. My brother stood up to applause. My sister-in-law clapped harder than anyone. People leaned in to congratulate them. And I stood there. Not crying. Not arguing. Not saying a word. Just standing there while my mother erased me out loud. If you've ever been dismissed by your own family, if you've ever been made invisible by the people who were supposed to protect you, like this video, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Because I promise you, I know exactly what it feels like to be reduced to nothing while everyone watches. They didn't just humiliate me. They formalized it. This wasn't a heated argument in a kitchen. This wasn't a cruel comment said in private and apologized for later. This was a declaration. Spoken into a microphone. Framed as truth. Sanctioned by applause. The guests responded the way people always do when authority speaks. They followed the cue. Laughter rippled through the room, not loud enough to be cruel on its own, but loud enough to let me know exactly where I stood. Someone clapped twice, sharp and enthusiastic. Another person nodded, like my mother had just articulated something they'd always suspected. My sister-in-law didn't even try to hide it. She smiled. Not wide. Not dramatic. Just enough. The kind of smile that says, finally, it's official. The kind of smile that enjoys confirmation more than surprise. My mother stood tall, shoulders back, completely certain. No hesitation. No regret. She believed every word she said, and worse, she believed everyone else did too. I was positioned at the edge of the room. Literally. Near the wall. Close enough to hear everything, far enough away to be forgotten. I hadn't been invited to sit at the family table. I had been asked to help with the caterers. To check the flowers. To make sure everything ran smoothly. I wasn't a guest. I was labor. And when the insult landed, no one defended me. Not one person. Not a cousin. Not an aunt. Not someone I had known since childhood. No one interrupted. No one said, that's enough. No one even looked uncomfortable. Because when humiliation is ceremonial, people treat it like tradition. They didn't see cruelty. They saw hierarchy being maintained. This didn't start that night. That night was just the first time it was said out loud. In my family, roles were assigned early and enforced often. My brother was the achievement. I was the comparison. He was the proof. I was the warning. From the time we were children, everything was framed in contrast. His grades were discussed at dinner. Mine were acknowledged in passing. His ambitions were praised. Mine were described as phases. I was the one asked to help. To stay late. To clean up. To handle the details no one else wanted to touch. If something went wrong, it was assumed I would fix it. If something went right, it was assumed someone else had led. At gatherings, I was introduced with qualifiers. She's still figuring things out. She's creative. She's different. Words that sound kind until you realize they mean unfinished. My mother was the final authority. What she believed became reality. What she dismissed became irrelevant. And my sister-in-law learned quickly where power lived. She enforced it with smiles and subtle comments. With jokes that landed just hard enough to remind me of my place. My brother didn't have to mock me. He didn't have to say anything at all. His existence did the work for him. I learned early that defending myself made things worse. That pushing back confirmed their story about me. Emotional, sensitive, difficult. So I stopped. I became quiet. I became useful. I became invisible on purpose. There were years of this. Years of being measured against someone else's milestones. Years of my achievements being treated like hobbies. Years of being told I had potential, but no proof. Promise, but no results. Intelligence, but no direction. I learned to swallow it. To let it pass. To absorb disappointment without making a sound. I learned how to sit in rooms where people talked about success as if it had a single definition, and I learned how to let them believe I didn't meet it. I didn't correct assumptions. I didn't argue narratives. I didn't announce anything. Not because I was ashamed. Because I was done asking to be seen. So when my mother called me a nobody, it didn't shock me. What shocked me was that she finally said it without pretending. I didn't argue with her. I didn't cry. I didn't ask why. I turned toward the exit. I wasn't leaving in anger. I was leaving in clarity. I had known this moment would come. I just didn't know it would be this public. I took one step. Then another. The noise behind me continued. Glasses clinking. Laughter rising again. My brother accepting congratulations. My sister-in-law leaning into the attention like it belonged to her. And then the doors opened. Someone walked in who didn't belong there. Not family. Not a friend. Not invited. The room shifted before anyone spoke. You can feel authority when it enters a space. Conversations stalled mid-sentence. Smiles faltered. Heads turned. He asked for me by name. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Clearly. Kate. Just my name. Everything stopped. My mother turned, confusion breaking across her face. My brother's smile broke. My sister-in-law's hands paused mid-clap, suspended in the air like she didn't know what to do with it anymore. He introduced himself calmly, professionally. No interest in the celebration. No acknowledgement of the tension he'd just created. He said he needed to speak with me immediately. Not them. Not my mother. Me. The whispering started instantly. You could feel the recalculations happening. People scanning memories, trying to remember if they had ever spoken to me. If they had ever laughed. If they had ever looked away. My mother stepped forward, tried to take control, tried to reclaim the room with her posture and her tone. She asked what this was about. He didn't answer her. He looked at me. He asked if I could step somewhere private. And for the first time in my life, I didn't look to my family for permission. I nodded. They wanted answers. All of them did. You could see it on their faces. Confusion mixed with irritation. Fear trying to hide behind politeness. My mother asked who he was again. My brother asked what this was about. My sister-in-law didn't ask anything. He just watched me like I'd done something unforgivable by being noticed. I said nothing. I followed him down the hallway while the room buzzed behind us, full of people who had just watched me be declared worthless and were now desperately hoping that declaration wasn't about to age badly. I didn't explain. I didn't reassure. I didn't apologize. For the first time, I held the information. And they felt it. We didn't speak long. We didn't need to. He told me what was already going to happen. He told me the headline, the numbers, the language. He told me it was going live whether I spoke or not. The secret billionaire behind $1.5 billion in real estate, Kate. Not emotional. Not flattering. Accurate. I didn't say anything back. I didn't need to. The truth didn't require my performance. When we walked back into the room, the shift was immediate. Word had traveled faster than we had. People stood straighter. Conversations died mid-sentence. Faces rearranged themselves into something more cautious. The announcement didn't come from me. It came from him. Clear. Calm. Factual. No embellishment. No defense. No emotion. Just reality, introduced into a room that had built its hierarchy on assumption. My mother didn't sit down. She didn't speak. She just stood there, staring, like someone had rearranged the furniture in a house she thought she owned. My brother looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time and realizing he had no idea who I was. His mouth opened once, closed again. My sister-in-law didn't move at all. The applause didn't return. There was no sound to replace it. Silence filled the room where laughter had been seconds earlier. Heavy. Unforgiving. I didn't smile. I didn't react. I didn't explain. I didn't need to. I turned around and walked out. I didn't take anything from them. I stopped belonging to them. The article published anyway. By morning, my phone was unusable. Messages from numbers I didn't recognize. Congratulations layered with curiosity. People suddenly remembering my name. People who had laughed the night before now asking if we could talk. My life didn't change. I woke up in the same place. Drank the same coffee. Reviewed the same work. Nothing I had built required their acknowledgement to function. Their world, however, shrank quickly. Invitations stopped. Conversations became awkward. People hesitated around them. Laughed less. Asked questions they couldn't answer. Reputation doesn't disappear loudly. It fades. Quietly. The way respect leaves when it realizes it was misplaced. My mother called. I didn't answer. My brother texted. I didn't respond. They wanted context. Explanation. Closure. They wanted me to soften what had happened so they could survive it with dignity intact. But I wasn't angry anymore. I was finished. I didn't reconcile. I didn't forgive. I didn't make speeches. I set a boundary so clean it felt like silence. They called me a nobody. And that's exactly who I became to them.